Oh, wrong pillow. That's okay.
People who were in Germany at the time who end up being deported to different places or running from the Nazis. What did they do? That's basically, those are the people that we're looking at this week. So does everyone have the slideshow open? Thumbs up if you have a slideshow open. Okay, those who don't, please open said slideshow. And let's begin with our slideshow. So the first thing we're going to look at, here's the first question. What makes someone a hero? And can you name any heroes? So in our chat, name heroes. And in the meantime, if anyone can tell me how they would define a hero, what is a hero? If someone said, okay, explain to me what a hero is, what would you say? Anyone have any answers? What would you say a hero is?
Someone who thinks of themselves before, someone who thinks of others before themselves.
Okay, someone who thinks of others before themselves. Okay, what else? Ali, did you want to say something?
Someone who has good intentions.
Okay, someone with good intentions. Ella?
Someone who sets an example for others.
Someone who sets an example for others. Okay, go ahead. Zach? Yeah.
I think we're actually thinking of a specific type of hero, but another definition is someone who is basically someone who's being celebrated and basically sort of like kind of a bit of a celebrity who did a lot of good things.
Okay, but they have to do good things to be a hero.
Well, not do good things, but did something incredible often is a
good. Does it matter good or bad?
Well, specifically incredible, or at least to the people who are celebrating them.
Okay.
Like we think of like in ancient times, generals and armies are thought of as heroes.
Okay. In the chat, I want everyone to please list 2 heroes. So everyone knows where the chat is, how to put things in the chat. This little button on the bottom. Make sure that it says to everyone so everyone can see what you're going to put in. Is everyone doing that? Putting the 2 heroes in their chat? Well, let me know if you're having trouble. Good. Superman, Superwoman, Superman, Batman, Beyonce, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Okay. Keep writing if you haven't written. For those of you who said a superhero, could you think of a not super regular hero? And what makes those people, what makes them heroes? What do people do to make themselves heroes? Not the superheroes. Those are fairly, like, I understand why they're superheroes. But a regular person, how do they become a hero?
Should we also write why we chose them?
You can, but you don't have to. But you can explain now if you want, Ali. You wrote Albert Einstein. Why was he a hero?
Because, like, he was, like, revolutionizing. And, like, he was really smart. And, like, he used his skills to help people when he easily could have done it to, like, hurt people. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then the reason I chose Batman also is because, like, he kills people as well. So it's like sort of like, so even though he does it for, like, good reasons, he murders people. So even though he's still thought of as a hero, he, like, kills people. So yeah.
Okay, so there might be some heroes who, in context, if out of context, if you just describe what they do, right? Like Batman, if you just say Batman kills people, So he doesn't sound like a great guy. But then if you say, or a hero for that matter, but if you then put it into context, who does he kill? Well, he kills people who are hurting other people and can't be stopped. So that makes him a hero. Albert Einstein took his brilliance and created something that could have been used for good or bad and helped that be used for good, or so he hoped. Okay, anyone who hasn't spoken yet have something to say? Zach, you have something to say?
I listed 2 people who stopped nuclear war.
Okay, that's definitely a big one. Stopping nuclear wars is important. Mabel, you wrote Michelle Obama. Do you want to say why you chose Michelle Obama?
Because she is like really inspirational, I think.
In what way?
There's a lot of people like she's very strong, I think, like strong spirited and like
Yeah, good. She's a good role model. That's what people, that might make her a hero. She speaks up. She's a strong woman. Okay, good. Cameron, did you want to say something?
Beyonce. She's like, oh my God. She's a queen. She's like the best. I mean, she's such an inspiration to everyone. I mean, like, how can you not like mention Beyonce when you think of heroes? Because like, Beyonce is my personal hero.
Beyonce's your personal hero. Excellent. I'm so glad you have a personal hero. Okay, so that's a little bit about heroes. Anyone else have anything else to say about what a hero is? Okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit. Now that we have defined to a certain extent what heroes are, we're gonna look at 2 different things. One is how the Nazis treated the Jews. What did they do to make everybody else kind of follow them? And how did they do it, right? If you have a whole group of people and you want an entire country and then some to follow in the destruction of that people, right? It's not just that Hitler didn't necessarily want the Jews to move somewhere else. He wanted to kill the Jews and destroy Jews. So that's a little bit different than like, please don't live here, which is also bad. But this was, we just want to kill the Jews. So how do you get other people on board with that? And we spoke about that a little bit 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the different ways that the Nazis got power and that they blamed the Jews for the situation in Germany. But there are a couple other things that Hitler and the Nazis did in order to make it a very compelling reason, or in theory, a very compelling reason. So somebody accidentally shared their screen. So if you could unshare the screen, that would be great. But if you look at the third slide, so look at the third slide. And where is it?
I think I'm having trouble accessing the slideshow.
Okay, because right now somebody is sharing their screen. So look at the bottom of your screen on Zoom, and if it says share, press share. Here, I'm actually going to share, so we stop sharing this screen. Okay. Okay, now I'm sharing the screen. You should see.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I see.
Okay. Okay, so if you click on the link there, you're going to get to a video. Okay. Now I'm going to play the video, but you should follow along. Okay. Everyone with me? Yes? Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's see if the audio is going to work on this.
Here in the course of centuries, the Oriental Far Eastern racial mixture.
Sorry. Can everyone hear that?
No, I can't hear it.
totally different.
Okay, let's pause. Did anyone hear that? Could you hear the volume of that?
No.
It was just really quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like faintly.
Okay, so let's try to fix that so that you do hear it. Let's stop our sharing. Okay, so let's try it again and see if we could do it. Or the other option is for you to do it on your own, which is also possible and maybe better for right now. So that's what, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Everybody right now watches video. The way Edpuzzle works, I'm not sure we've had it before, is wherever the question marks are, a question is going to pop up on the side of the video. Answer the question. Okay? Anyone have any questions about that? All right, I'm going to stop sharing so that you can do this.
Can you post the link again? Sorry.
I can, no problem.
So, like, there's something on my computer, like, where, like, my mom, like, restricted some videos, and I can't, watch the video that it, like, shows.
This video, okay, maybe when I send you the link, you might be able to do it. So let's see what happens. Is everyone able to watch the video?
I'm just asking why. Like, well,
When you're done with the video and the questions, just put your thumb up so I know that you're done. Okay, again, when you're done, just put up your thumb. Okay. Is everyone done? 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 Okay. If you are not done, are you almost done? Okay. So let's give you another minute.
Yeah, I'm on the last few questions.
Great. Okay, so let's start. What did this video, what was it telling you? What was it telling the German people? What was its message? Zach?
Message was that Jews are a poison and they're a disease, like rats. They're
Okay.
not equal to us. They're below us. There's something as pest. There's as much of a pest as rats. They're not human.
Okay. Anything else anyone wanted to? How is that helpful? Do you think it was convincing? Anyone think that was a convincing argument? Why do you think the Germans took that argument? Why would they do that? What's the point of making Germans think or start thinking about Jews not as humans, but really more like rats, vermin that collect disease? Ollie?
Propaganda.
Okay, but so what? Like, let's say I start thinking that Jews are not like humans. Does that make it easier to do anything?
Yeah, sort of. Cause like it's like for like them, if they made everybody think that like Jews were like rats and stuff, then that would like make it easier to not like them. And if more people didn't like them, then that would be better for them,
Okay.
for the Nazis.
Okay. Ella?
I think like kind of like the purpose of like making Jews seem like as like rats was to like when people had a problem that they couldn't like fix or they couldn't like they didn't have like any grasp of it, they could like use this to blame it on someone who I guess is like in a case lower than them and like in a way.
Okay, good. What else? Like, I don't know about you. If you live in New York City, there are often rats. And how do we treat rats? What do we do with rats? Do you like let them walk around and hang out? Yeah. Harry, what do we do? Yeah, we kill them. We kill rats. We kill rats and we don't care. Nobody really thinks twice about killing rats. So that was part of what the Nazis were trying to do. If we make people think of Jews as rats, then they won't really think about that they're killing humans. They'll think like they're killing rats. And nobody likes rats. Rats carry disease. Rats are gross. Nobody cares if you kill a rat. And so if you start thinking about Jews like rats, then you won't care either if you kill or if people around you are killing rats/Jews. And that was really one major step that the Nazis took, was to dehumanize Jews. They didn't seem like people. They didn't seem like people. it was easier for the rest of the population to start thinking about killing Jews as not a big deal. Okay, another thing that the Germans did, if you go to the next slide. So Hitler talks about the Jewish problem. And for Hitler, the Jewish problem, he explains, but also Hitler was a brilliant orator. That means he was amazing at giving speeches. For example, I don't know if any of you ever listened to President Obama give a speech. President Obama is a gifted speaker. He speaks very well, and people are at the edge of their seats, whether they agree with him or not, because of the way he speaks. Hitler had a similar talent for being able to speak in a way that was very convincing and compelling for people. Now, I don't know about you, but usually now when I watch Hitler, I think he just looks like a crazy angry man. But that might just be because I know that Hitler might have been a crazy angry man. But at the time, he was very compelling. So we're going to try this again. We are going to try having me share my screen and see if I can play this video with sound. So if you do not hear it, somebody unmute yourself and tell me you do not hear it.
It's incredibly quiet.
Yeah.
You don't hear it?
It's really.
I hear like
Really?
Really
Really
Yeah,
softly.
barely.
Okay, 1 second. Let's see.
Yeah, I can't really hear anything either.
Let's see if we can figure that out. There is something I think that I can press that should make this work. So we're gonna see if we can do that. 1 second. Where do we think it would be? Okay. Let's try this again. Can you hear it now? No.
I hear it less than I did before.
Excellent. Okay.
Less than before.
Okay, less than before. That's not helpful. Okay, so the truth is, you don't have to hear the sound so much because he's speaking German. And I don't know about you, but that's definitely not the way I can understand it. So read the subtitles. If you can hear it, great. If you can't, don't worry. And we'll do it that way. And then I'm going to figure out why it doesn't work the way I want it to. Okay, let's do this again.
Die Völker wollen nicht mehr auf den Schlachtfeldern sterben, damit diese wurzellose internationale Rasse an den Gesetzen des Krieges verdient und ihre alte solidarische Rasse erbringen. Über der jüdischen Parole, Proletarier aller Länder, vereinigt euch, ihr eine höhere Erkenntnis schießen, schaffende Angehörige aller Nationen, erkennt euren gemeinsamen Feind. Erkennen, dass das nationalsozialistische Deutschland keine Feindschaft mit anderen Völkern will. Ich will heute wieder ein Prophet sein. Wenn es dem internationalen Finanzjudentum in und außerhalb Europas gelingen sollte, die Völker noch einmal in einen Weltkrieg zu stürzen, dann wird das Ergebnis nicht die Bolschewisierung der Erde und damit das Sieg des Judentums sein, sondern die Vernichtung der jüdischen Rasse in Europa.
Okay, so, sorry, let's get out of this. Okay. What is it that Hitler was, what was his message?
Well, his message was that Germany just wanted peace and that the Jews were basically wanted to benefit financially and like take advantage.
Okay, good. Right. What else, Ella?
I think that Hitler, he was trying to show people that they have like a common enemy and like try and turn people against the Jews.
Uh-huh. That and 2 weeks ago we were talking about how Hitler was blaming the Jews in Germany. To the German people, he blamed the Jews for the terrible financial situation in Germany. But then he went further, and the Nazis went further. And really, the propaganda that they were putting out there was not only are we comparing Jews to rats and so dehumanizing them, but we're also telling the rest of the world this war that's going to end up being a world war. That's not our fault. We don't want this war. We're doing you a favor. We're getting rid of the Jews who clearly want this war because they're responsible for all the money in all of Europe, and it's in their best interest to take over Europe. So it's not the Germans who are causing war, it's the Jews that are causing war. And that was a huge push for Hitler. Not only that, he brings up the Bolsheviks because of the Bolshevik Revolution and in Russia, and talking about how really the Jews are behind that as well. And really they're trying to just spread that Russian communism, socialist ideas. And Europe doesn't want that. So we're just going to eradicate the Jews from Europe. And it's, Germany's doing everyone a favor. And that was really another element of the Nazis' propaganda in trying to make other countries and other people, not only the Germans, help them in the war. And they do that. The Poles kind of are both victims of the Holocaust and helpers. The Ukrainians also quite helpful to the Germans. And a lot of this was because of anti-Semitism and the Nazis' excellent way of framing who the enemy was and why they were so dangerous and just blaming the Jews for everything. So now that we know all of this, we're going to look at some of the people who fought this. In the next slide number 5, you have an assignment. Okay, you're going to click on the link. I can also put the link in the chat. And in this link, there are it's a Lino board. We've used that before. And what you're going to do is read about the different people that's talking about in this Lino board. And then you're going to comment on it. I just put the link in. If you look at that slide, you'll see that the directions are, there are 4 people who are famous. These are 4 examples of people who were famous for resistance during the Holocaust. Choose 2 of these people, read and watch a short clip about them, and then choose 2 of their acts of resistance and answer the following questions. Keep in mind, what made this act of resistance so difficult? Why was it hard for them to resist like this? And how did this act of resistance help others? Okay, so you're going to read, there are a choice of, I think, 4 different people. You're going to read about 2 of those 4 people and then comment on the Lino board what made this act of resistance so difficult, and how do they help other people by doing this. Does anyone have any questions? Ella?
Do we have to answer both those questions for each of the ones that we do?
Yes, answer both those questions for each of the ones that you do. Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes now to do that. And they also were physically doing something. How many of you read about the Bielski brothers? Raise your hand. Bielski brothers, raise your hand if you saw about the Bielski brothers. Okay, how many people read about the fighter from Treblinka, who fought in Treblinka? Okay, that was at the top of the page, top of the Lino board. How many people read about Chana Senesh? Chana Senesh. Had anyone ever heard of Chana Senesh before this? Okay. And last but not least, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. How many people watched something about the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? So here's what I have to say. It would be great if after this class, you go back to these videos and watch all of them. They have a lot to teach us about the different people who were part of this, part of these uprisings. They were not standard. People didn't really, this was unusual for them to do it. They were definitely in positions where power was not something they had. If you go to the next slide, slide number 6, you see that there are different categories that people can fall into. Partisans, Jewish brigade, which would be what Hannah Senesh was part of, and fighters of ghetto or camp uprisings. So the Bielskis were part of the partisans. They were the people who hid in forests and fought the Nazis by either actually killing people randomly, killing Nazis when they saw them, or by smuggling people out of camps, smuggling people out of ghettos, saving different people, smuggling guns to other people who could fight, and doing different things like that. The French partisans are very well known. They were very successful, and the Bielski brothers were part of the partisans. And fighters of ghetto uprisings, so that is Mordechai Anilovich, and the people of the Warsaw Ghetto. And I would put into that fighters of ghetto uprisings, even though Treblinka was a concentration camp, the man who fought in the Treblinka uprising. Any questions? Well, would you put any of these people in the category of hero? Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Probably
Evie.
put a few of them in there. Likely, what was it? The girl who fought.
Hannah Senesh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably her. I'm not sure about the others. I would
Okay.
probably also consider the what is it? The Treblinks. I am
Treblinka.
good at pronouncing these things, but that's like the T person who fought the T uprising.
Yeah, Treblinka. Okay. Ella? Oh, she froze. Okay, Evie.
Yeah, I was about to say about the girl who was killed when she was 23. I think she was probably definitely would have been a hero because she was really brave because she went back to Europe despite all the danger, and eventually she was killed.
Okay. What about the other people? Not so much?
Well, I didn't really see a bunch of other people because I didn't have enough time. But
not so much time. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else a hero on this list? So I would say that all of these people are probably heroes. They all risked their lives. Every single one of them would have been killed were they caught. For half of the people in there, they were caught and they were killed. Hannah Senesh was caught and killed, and Mordechai Anilovich and the people of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, they were also all killed. The Bielski brothers survived the war, and clearly the man who was speaking about his experiences in Treblinka, he survived the war, but and his uprising, but a lot of the people at Treblinka did not. So I would say that they're probably all heroes because they risked their lives for greater good, and they knew that that's exactly what they were doing. Yeah, Ella.
Also, I think they set examples for other people who I guess were also stuck in the situation. Even if the other people didn't exactly follow through on it, they did provide an example of what was going on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, they were role models for people and would encourage people to do what they were doing. For example, in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, Mordechai Anilovich was the leader of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, and he encouraged more and more people to join that uprising. And were it not for him and the people that he gathered, that would have been ineffective. If it was just him trying to do a rebellion in the Warsaw Ghetto, he would have been shot. That would have been the end of it. There would have been no Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. One of the important things to know about the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising is that word that there was this uprising that took the Germans by surprise, that lasted multiple days, that had them have to put pause on the things that they were doing, spread throughout Europe, and word spread to lots of Jews, and it gave a lot of other Jews and other people hope and determination that they too could rise against the Nazis and do things that would help save other people. So that was also very important in what they did. For some of the others, like the Bielski brothers, probably lots of what they did was unknown until after the war and when they survived and people told their story. Okay, we don't have that much time left. If you go to slide number 7, and actually I will share slide number 7. Slide number 7 is a quote from one of the Bielskis. Now, the picture you see is from the movie Defiance, and that movie is about the Bielski brothers. But what he said, Tuvia Bielski said, "We cannot simply hide ourselves. We must do something for our people. We cannot sit in the bushes and wait until the wolf comes for us. We must send people to the ghettos to save the Jews." So it's not only that the Bielskis saved Jews and hid them in the forest, but they also helped save more Jews and get Jews out and helped other people who were fighting the Nazis. So they felt like they had a responsibility, like, okay, we could hide people in the forest, and that's important, but that's not all we should be doing. We should be doing other things as well. One other thing, and we're going to get to this next week. Oh, actually, I'm not the person teaching next week, but hopefully we'll get to this next week. Viktor Frankl is a very famous survivor, and he said that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Does anyone want to tell me what you think that means? Ella.
So like I'm not really sure, but I guess that like you can basically like take someone's like identity, I guess, or like their name or whatever, and that you can change it, but you really can't change like their choices, I guess, or you can't change like the decisions that they choose to make, because like that's a part of like I guess who they are in a way. I'm not really sure if like that makes sense. But
Okay, that's definitely close to what he means. Anyone else want to comment? So I think one of the things that Viktor Frankl is trying to say, that even when all your freedoms are taken away, I don't have choices, I can't decide whether I'm getting up in the morning or sleeping in the morning, I have to do whatever someone's telling me to do, I can't go and come wherever I want to go and come, and I can't eat whatever I want, and all of those choices are taken away from me. I have no freedom. What I do have freedom about is how I think, what my attitude is. And so I can decide, okay, everything is terrible, and so I'm just going to not try to do anything, and I'm just going to be depressed, or I'm just going to be hopeless. Or I can see a tough situation, and I can try to basically rebel against that situation by my attitude and by my thoughts. And through that, I can keep going and move myself forward. And that's a different kind of defiance. That's a different kind of rebellion that isn't like Mordechai Anlovich in the Warsaw Ghetto, or like Hannah Senesh fighting people, but it's about their own personal defiance and what they can do, even if the Nazis didn't pick up on it as much, to think about how they were rebelling. And hopefully next week you'll see a few examples of that. The last thing that I want to go to is a video about Elie Wiesel. So if everyone goes to, I think it is slide 10. Okay, if you go to slide 10, there are 4 different points on slide 10, not counting the play button. Does everyone see that? Okay, so let's just look a little bit at what Elie Wiesel has to say. Okay, so first it tells you a little bit about Elie Wiesel. He was Romanian born. He was a Jewish writer, a professor. He won the Nobel Prize, and he was a survivor. He wrote amazing books about his experiences in the Holocaust, and was someone who spoke a lot about the responsibility of people to stand up when things go wrong. And that was one of the main problems in World War II, is that people let things happen and didn't speak up. So he also has some interesting quotes. One is, I have not lost faith in God. I have moments of anger and protest, and sometimes I've been closer to him for that very reason. There are people who went through the war, went through the Holocaust, and lost faith in God. For Elie Wiesel, that wasn't the case. He said that sometimes when he was angriest at God is when he felt closest to God. So that's part of Viktor Frankl's idea of like, you still have free reign over what you believe and what your thoughts are. And for Elie Wiesel, that was one of those things. Another thing he said is, because I remember I despair, because I remember I have the duty to reject despair, right? After the Holocaust, people could have left feeling like the world is not worth it. Everything is terrible. Look at all these terrible things that happened and we're done. Like I can't go on. But because he went through that and because he saw that, he felt that he had a responsibility to reject hopelessness and to try to bring out the best in humanity. And the last quote we're going to look at is, no one is capable of gratitude as one who has emerged from the kingdom of night. That when you go through such a terrible time, like the Holocaust, you appreciate things more. You have more gratitude because you know how bad things can get. And for him, that was the Holocaust. The Holocaust was the worst that it could get. And he was able to take that and then appreciate the rest of his life. Ella.
I think we kind of learned something in class. It was like a song about like gratitude, I guess, or like how like we don't really like appreciate what we have, even though like we see all of this like bad stuff going on around us. But I feel like this is kind of like he went through like a near-death experience, and that kind of like changed his perspective, I guess.
Totally. And for Elie Wiesel, that was a really big thing. The fact that he survived the Holocaust made him spend his life both being an optimist and telling people that they need to have hope, and also feeling responsibility that he had to make sure something like the Holocaust didn't happen again and educate people in how to stand up and be active bystanders and not just let bad things happen and be like, oh, sorry, couldn't do anything. And that was very, very important. Okay, there's a lot we didn't cover. That's okay. Hopefully next week you'll cover it. I won't be here next week, but you will have a sub, and then the following week I will be around. Any last questions? Okay, you do not have homework because we did not finish, so don't worry about that. And have a good week.